Hello family and welcome back. So in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to draft this trendy ruched dress with cowl neck design, and these are the measurements I'll need for this dress. So to begin, I have this drafting paper that I'm going to be using. At the top edge I've drawn a line about half an inch away. This is my shoulder line, and from the shoulder line I'm going to take the vertical measurements. I'll start with the shoulder line to bust line measurements at 10.5 inches. And next I'll take shoulder line to under bust line at 13 inches. And then shoulder line to waistline measurement at 16 inches. And for the hip line, I'll measure 9 inches from the waistline, that is the 16 inches mark. Then I'm going to leave the rest for now because this paper is not enough for my full length. Next, I'll square out straight lines across the marked points. Next, I'll just go ahead to label the lines as I'm doing, guys. I'll now proceed to the next step, which is to draw the round neck. This isn't necessary for the dress since it's an off-shoulder with straps. I'm measuring 3 inches for the neck width and another 3 inches for the neck depth. I'll then use a curve ruler to draw a neckline. And I'm now going to measure half my shoulder measurement, which is 14 inches divided by 2 is 7 inches. Come down by 1 inch. Then draw my shoulder slope by connecting this mark to the neckline with a straight line. With that, I'll measure the chest line at 7.5 inches from the shoulder slope, which is achieved by the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'm putting a mark there and I'll draw a straight line passing through the mark. The chest line is also the armhole depth, from where I'm going to measure half the shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches. Like I said earlier, 14 divided by 2 gives you 7 inches. Then draw a vertical line joining the 2 points. And from there I'm going to measure the midpoint of my armhole depth. And at that exact point, I'll go in by half an inch. Then also measure quarter of my bust circumference on the chest line. So now I'll be drawing the armhole by connecting these 3 marks with a curve like this. Moving forward, I now want to put in the body measurements on the lines. I'll start with marking quarter of the waist circumference on the waistline. We'll not be putting any darts on the front part, so no additional 1 inch dart replacement this time. I'll also mark quarter of the hip circumference on the hip line, and I'll connect this mark to the full length using a straight line. I won't be taking away 1 inch on the full length like we normally do. I'll then draw the outline of the dress with the marks, but first I need to add 1 inch stitching allowance all through. Yeah guys, this is a basic dress pattern. Let's continue drafting. I now want to draw a straight line at the armhole midpoint. I measured it earlier, so there is no need of measuring again. I'll then cut out the upper part from this line. I'm done cutting the front. I'll first trace out the back part using this front pattern before slashing and spreading it. The dress is going to have a zipper at the back center, so I need to leave about 2 inches zipper allowance at the center back. And on the same line I'm drawing right now is where I'll join the 2 back pieces. With that, I'll now bring back the front pattern, align it to the drawn line, then mark out the waistline and the hip line on the paper underneath. There is no point of marking the bust line and the under bust line. From there I'm going to also trace out the front outline on the back. Everything else remains the same apart from the zipper allowance and the neckline, which I'll show you the difference later. This is the front part traced on the back piece. First thing, I'm going to draw the waistline and the hip line from the marks I put. I marked on each side, so it's now very easy joining with lines. And I'll label this now as the zip allowance. And like I said guys, the neckline isn't the same with the front, so now I'm going to measure what I have here, then carry it forward to the other side and draw a line like that. And what I measured on the armhole depth was 3.5 inches. I'll measure 4 inches this other side and mark. You can decide to use the neckline as it is if you don't want it lower at the center back. To avoid sagging of the back, I'll measure the bust span on the waistline and the neckline as well. Draw a vertical line, then draw dots with half an inch on each side of the line. And I also measure 3 inches from the waistline, that is where the dots end. I'm doing this to reduce the length I have here at the neckline. Next, I'm going to cut out on the outline and also cut along the new neckline. And for the dart, I'll cut out one leg, then tape it down. So guys, let's continue drafting the front part. I'll first measure half of the upper part, that is from the neckline to the chest line. What I have is 3.5 by 2. Then draw a line passing through the mark. So now I'll splash and spread at the chest line and the new drawn line. Splashing means cutting on the lines, but you have to be very keen while cutting because you shouldn't cut the paper all out. I'll then put the front on another plain paper and make sure the center fronts align. I'm doing this because I want to spread the front on this new paper and spread it with 1.5 inches, though using 1 inch for spread is also still okay. And I'm going to measure as I secure with tapes. After that, I'm now going to draw a horizontal line at the top. This line I'm drawing will be the boundary between the front and its facing. From there, I'll extend the armhole depth to meet the line I just drew. Then fold the paper below from the line. And I'm going to mark the bust line on the folded paper because I want to cut out from this point. The facing is not supposed to be longer than that. The final thing, guys, is to cut out around the armhole area, and that's all for drafting a cowl neck design. Remember, this upper part is the facing for the front. In our next video, I'll be showing you how to sew the dress, including how to make the ruched part. So don't forget to subscribe and please like and leave a comment.